Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going over my prediction for the 2024 Senate elections. We'll be starting out on the West Coast and we'll move eastward. So first up, we got the state of Nevada. The state is likely to go to the Democratic Party, and I'm going to give it the characterization as so. Next up, we get to the state of Arizona, which is a bit of an interesting race. Ruben Gallo versus Kari Lake, I believe. And Kari Lake has lost before. She's not the most popular candidate in Arizona. Republicans definitely made a mistake in nominating her, and I do think that this will likely end up going to the Democratic Party as well. Next up, we get to some more Republican states. We'll start with Texas, actually. I think Texas has got a good chance of going to the Republican Party by a pretty good margin. I do think it'll be a little bit closer than states like Utah or Missouri or Nebraska, but it'll likely be a lean margin for the Republican Party. Next, we'll come back to Montana, but for now we'll go to Florida, which is likely to be about the same margin. There will be an abortion referendum, which could bring down the margin slightly, but I do think that regardless, it'll end up going to the Republican Party. And with that, that brings us to a 45 to 50 Senate makeup, with 50 for the Republicans and 45 for the Democrats. And so in a situation where Trump wins the election and has a Republican vice president, then that will be able to break the tie and it'll be a Republican Senate majority. The best Democrats can do now is to win the presidency and win every other seat left, and maintaining the presidency with the 50-seat majority, with Vice President Harris being the tie-breaking vote. So we will now get to the three states throughout the Rust Belt. We have Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is definitely going to end up in the Democratic column. I would see the same of Michigan. I do think Michigan will be a closer margin. It might be a tilt. We can add a tilt characterization here. So we'll add that there. And then for Wisconsin, I think Tammy Baldwin is likely going to end up doing pretty well. We'll go with lean there. But now we get to the two truly competitive states that can determine the makeup of the next Senate makeup. And we'll start with the state of Montana. So currently there's a Democratic incumbent. It's a seat Democrats are putting quite a bit of money into and efforts in general just to ensure the seat remains in Democratic hands. But I do think that the state has been certainly trending towards the right in recent years, and I think that will be that trend will be more than enough to overcome a Democratic incumbent. I do think it'll be somewhat close, but I do think that the Republican Party, if the election was held today on June 12th, 2024, that the Republicans would be able to flip that seat. Next up, we get to the final state of Ohio. So this is likely going to be I'm going to go with a tilt Democratic victory. I think that Sherrod Brown, he's been doing quite well in the polls. It appears as though he's predicted to overperform Trump, so there will almost certainly be a Trump victory in Ohio on the presidential level, but things are looking pretty good for Sherrod Brown, and that may be enough to carry him over the victory line. I do think that the Montana and Ohio races could certainly be switched depending on a variety of factors, but at the moment I do think that is likely going to be the makeup. And Michigan is a bit interesting. The Democratic likely candidate is ahead in the polls by a couple points, but you never know, could switch to the Republican Party. But I'm actually going to go with a lean character. So the whole Rust Belt will be lean Democrat, and then we have the state of Ohio with tilt Democrat. Democrats end up losing 2 seats with this prediction. The state of West Virginia, with Joe Manchin's old seat, is now a solid Republican state, so that's an easy switch for the Republicans. And then, of course, the state of Montana, which I currently predict will end up going to them. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and don't